just logging on to my page. Right, so hi, how are you? Did you have a good weekend? Oh gosh, that was ages ago. Have you got anything planned for this weekend? That'll come round too quick as well, and it's going to be warm. According to the nice weatherman, it's going to be warm, which is a bit strange, isn't it, for this time of year, I suppose. Right, this evening I am representing Crafty-UK. Crafty-UK is run by Andy and Joe, and they are in the business of making acrylic templates. Good evening, everybody. Yeah, they make acrylic templates for lots and lots of people, lots and lots of companies in the UK. So they are very, very popular, I suppose, for want of a better expression, amongst all the little businesses that like to use acrylic templates. And if you ever see a template with Crafty-UK stamped on it, engraved on it, whatever they do, I don't know the technicalities, then you know it comes from Crafty-UK, and it's made by Andy and Joe, and that they make them all on a laser at their home. They are knee deep in templates. Let me just tell you that for nothing. They are knee deep in templates, and that's all down to you guys. So thank you very much for supporting a great business, and obviously very useful for me, because obviously I've got 5 different sets of templates myself now. I may stop at that, I may not. Depends. Anyway, glad you could all join me this evening. It's lovely to be on a live in the middle of the week on my page, because it very rarely happens. Right, so let me just get you on my page. Oh, she does repeat herself a lot. There we go. So I can see, and actually I can see names on here, so that I probably don't even need my phone, to be perfectly honest. Now, the email address that you need is, I wonder if it's on their packaging, is crafty-uk@talktalk.net. I will say that again properly with my teeth in. crafty-uk@talktalk.net. So if you want to order any templates I'm going to show you this evening, then please email Andy and Joe on that email address, or you can find them on Facebook under Crafty-UK, and you can message them from there, or you can find Joe and Andy if they're personal friends of yours, so you'll know where to find them. You don't need me to tell you. But if they've got a website as well, www.crafty-uk.co.uk, but I think mainly they deal via email and messaging and that type of thing. So that's the way you can get them. In one of the designs that I created this afternoon, I snuck in my Blue Beauty templates, my half rectangle triangle, so I will go through that with you when we get to them. Thank you, Gemma, thank you very much. Yeah, so don't contact me, because they're nothing to do with me, other than I very much enjoy what Andy and Joe does, and I do love to get involved. You could call me nosy if you like. I'm nosing my way in, because I love what they do, and why not? So that's how you can contact Andy or Joe, is by their email address, or by getting onto their Facebook page, and which is Crafty-UK, and then you can message them from there. I think that's fair enough. I think I've said enough. So I'm going to keep my phone there just for a little while, just in case I miss anything. It's easier for me to scroll back. Mary says, can you believe it, Liz? I'm still waiting my Blue Beauties. What can I say? It's obviously your customs that are being a little bit pedantic. Most of the time, even if I send to America, they get there within a fortnight. It's just amazing, really. But I suppose it depends on local areas, and I can't be responsible for that. However, I can be responsible for showing you these little delights of goodness. So let me put you on my overhead. Now I've had to put my cutting mat, which I really don't like having on my desk, but I've had to put my cutting mat down because we will be cutting fabric, would you believe? And this is the potato chip family. Now then, I want you to listen very carefully. I'm not going to repeat this. You can look back on the live, and then you can listen again. So if you have already got the original potato chip template, which is shown here, then Andy and Joe will package you up the daddy and the baby, the big one, the large one and the small one, in this box for £12. Okay, so if you've already got the middle-sized one, which is the mummy one if you like, then you don't need to buy the whole 3 sets again, or rather you don't need to buy that one again. You can complete your set by ordering from Andy and Joe the remaining 2, and it's not £20, it's £12. Okay, I'm not going to repeat it. Listen up. So inside here, if you haven't got the potato chip templates at all, inside here is the large one. Hard to see, there we are. Is it probably better on my mat? And then the little one which fits inside, which is great. And then you've got the medium size one. I wonder if I've got some dark fabric handy, just to see. I've got some green. Let's just see if that shows up with my green. Oh yeah, that's better. Let's just plonk that down for a moment. So you get the big one, which is this big, you get the little one which fits inside, and you get the medium sized one. Now then, they all have a silicone grip. So if I get I'll get the original one. So I don't know if you can see the little silicone sort of almost like semicircles, and they are really great because they literally grab your fabric. Okay, if you didn't have those on, that's going to slip about all over the place. So all of the templates Andy and Joe now provide us all with have this silicone grip on, which is great. And you might wonder, why have they put a hole in the corner there? Well, first of all, I suppose you can hang them up by that little hole if you want to. It's a square hole. I'll put it down so you can see it better. But it's also a marker, it's a 1/4 inch marker as well. So if you need, for instance, if you can't use that sort of that point there, if you like, where there's the 1/4 inch mark, obviously in the corner, there isn't a hole like you have on some templates. You can use this is a little square there to actually mark the 1/4 inch. Now then, I wonder if I've got something handy that I could show you what that looks like. So I've got some of my mini half rectangle triangles here. I'm just thinking which way is the best way to do it. So what you can do is pop the square over the corner, and that will mark your 1/4 inch. So if I got a pen, which obviously I don't have, I've got a real pen, a proper pen, not a heat erasable, you can actually mark that corner, and that's your 1/4 inch seam allowance. Difficult for you to see, I know, but I'm sure you get the gist. So that is all in with the templates. They've all got the silicone little pads on the back, and they've also got the little square that you can hang them up should you wish, but also Sue saying no barracking at the back. I wonder what she's talking about. I'll have to have a look. And also the square which marks off your 1/4 inch seam allowance. Okay, so all of them have got that, which is amazing. So you've got the big one, the one that sits in the middle, and then you've got the mummy one, and they all come in this great little box, which I'm sure if you know Andy and Joe by now, you know the history of the little box. It also comes with instructions, so they don't just sort of leave you to it and say, here you are, here's your templates, now get on with it. They actually give you ideas of what you can use. Now then, the last time I did this, which was maybe 6 weeks ago now, I did let's say the traditional potato chip block, and by all means go back and find that. And it's basically the potato chip was kind of created to make using your scraps up really easy, and you kind of go round and round and round without any of your seams actually joining, so there's no matching up or nesting of seams. It's quite incredible really. So if you use I'm going to put traditional way, you put 2 of these in the center, that's your square, and you start building out from there. And as you lay the rectangles down, you offset them, so it's a bit like brickwork. And if you were to look on the pattern here, we can't see the seam here, there's a seam there, and all of these potato chips go along and none of them match up with the seam. So it makes creating things like this really easy. It also means that you're going to use up your scraps. There we are. I'm going to just flash that in front of you for a moment. You can use up all your scraps and create the most amazing effects. So that's your potato chip family. So you've got the 3 sizes or 2 sizes if you go for that option, okay, which I talked about a little while ago. Okay, so that's that. Okay, let's just pop those to one side. And you can see how they come in a DVD box. Absolutely super. It clips shut. They're nice and safe. They're not going to get broken. Great in the post as well. That's the one thing that that Andy loves to do, is to make sure they're well packaged. So absolutely brilliant. So let's have a look at the square in square. So Jeanette says Jeanette's watching the TV as well. Thank you, Jeanette. I prefer it if you watch me, but you know, each to his own. So let's get another piece of fabric. See, this is not going to be big enough, so just wait. Let me get a piece of pink. See if I can do it this way. So square in square. Okay, so we're getting a nice bright pink piece of fabric. So you've got the 8-inch square in square. Okay, you can see what that looks like. You've also got the 4-inch, which is a different colour, which means that when you put them together, you can obviously see that there's 2 different templates there. We're going to be using the 4-inch version this evening. This is quite a big size for me to demonstrate just on my little old table here. It is easier for Andy when he's on TV or at a show. You get to see it in, you know, in more detail, perhaps closer up. For me, it's easier to use the 4-inch, because then I can build the block around it and you'll be able to see it better. This would end up, I mean, that's a really big block, incredibly useful for making quilts really quickly, and also using lots and lots of different colours. I mean, that's the idea of using the square in square, and I'm going to demonstrate that. So, and once again, this comes to, because this is a big template, it's not going to come in a DVD box, but it does come with full instructions, and it comes sort of nicely wrapped, so you know what you're getting inside. Tells you, you know, they're made from 3mm acrylic. Also tells you how to create the square in square. I'm not going to show you, there's no point otherwise. And also how to make different patterns, you know, different things that you can do. I don't know what's inside here, I don't know, I've opened it up. So it gives you ideas of what you can do, and I'm flashing it because, you know, I don't want you to copy it, I want you to buy the templates basically. So I'm going to pop that to one side because we don't need that anymore. Okay, so when I asked Andy, can I please demonstrate your templates to all my lovely followers on my page? And he said, yeah, okay, that's fine. I said, okay, well, I'll come up with something different. So I did. Now then, on my website, I'll have posted earlier on today that there are 4 designs that I put together to help you create something just a little bit different, other than using the normal potato chip design, and also incorporating the square in square, because I thought that would be a really lovely thing to do. So I came up with 4 designs. So this is what perhaps a quilt would look like. They're only 8 inches squares, so you're only looking at a 32-inch square quilt, but obviously you can add to this, okay? And the idea is that you're seeing a darker shade just here, if I follow my finger around, but obviously you could emphasize that even more, okay? So that's the idea. I'll show you my samples in a sec. I want to talk to you as we go along about how I deal with my different blocks, if you like. Let me just bring them in so you can see a bit better. So this is one block and this is another block. So because I told you these are darker, you need a different block that has the darker brick, if you like, the darker chip, the potato chip. So you've got 2 different patterns, if you like. The only thing that's different is this block here, okay? That one's light and that one's dark. The rest are all different. And what I suggest you do, so you don't get confused, is to number them. So we've got 1, 2 and 3. And then I suggest what you do is cut a little piece of your fabric depending on which colour you're going to be using, okay? So, and I've got an example of that I can show you. And just stick that to your block, to your piece of paper that you print out. Because that's going to be really useful so you don't get confused. If you think, oh gosh, what was number 1? Well, it's easy because you've written it down. If I had more time, I perhaps would have done that for you. But just number them 1, 2, 3. Okay, so you can work out what your colours are. And this one is 4 because it's brought in a 4th colour. Okay, so that's that one. Let me just pop those down. And this is what they look like when they're made up. So they're almost identical apart from that second brick, as I said, the big chip. And you can see what they look like, and you can see how they go together. I think they really are a super duper template to have, or a set of templates to have, because although you can keep doing the potato chip, like, so let's say traditional design, there's also so many other things you can do, and it's easier for me perhaps to come and give you a few ideas than perhaps you get the colouring pad out and your graph paper and try to do it yourself. But please experiment and use your scraps. So go to my website and download these 4 designs. They are free. I didn't write any instructions. It's just as basic could be. This is the one that you'll see actually on the website as the front cover. And it actually, I thought it looked really nice. So it's actually using the square in square. Okay, I don't know if you can pick that out there. I'll show you the samples in a sec. And it's using the same block over and over again. It's just how you've positioned it, how you've twisted it to actually get these designs. Okay, it's as easy as that. So the actual template is like this, or the block is like this. Again, it's an 8.5 inch, finishing at 8 inch square. And we've used the mummy chip, so that's that's the original one. We've used the mummy chip here, here, here and here, and then we've used the 4 inch square in square to make these 2 little mini blocks, and then we pop it together. Okay, and I'll demonstrate that one, so because that one seemed to come up really nice, it really did. But I'm only going to do a block so you can see how you put it together, and that's the design. So let me see, which way does it go? That way. Well, the first square is like that. Okay, so I'm just bringing it down a little bit. The first square is like that, and then you start sort of twisting them around to make that design. So it's easy to do. You've got a bit of nesting to go on here, and you've got a little bit of pointage going on here. I mean, that's not too bad. That's a bit rubbish. That's okay, but you know, that's the least of your problems. If you want to make something as gorgeous as this, then all you got to do is cut out the right shapes, stitch them together and have a little bit of fun. So I love that. Jean says she loves the colours. They worked out really well, Jean, didn't they? Yeah, you never quite know how things are going to work out until you actually start stitching them and putting them together. But you could draw this out on graph paper and colour it in with something else. You know, you can do that. Right, so the next one, the third one, is this one. Now, when I first did it, I thought, oh, it's a bit boring. But actually, it's kind of an optical illusion, because it looks like these squares are like that. If you look at it long enough, it looks like these are sort of pointed up, like little roofs of houses. So I quite liked how, after 5 minutes of me staring at it, looked. And again, it's one block. So the block is this, that's what it looks like. So again, it's quite easy, and again you could put your numbers on there. So I don't know quite, I don't think it makes any difference, but you could say that was 1, so that one's 1, that one's 2, so that one's 2, this is 3, and this is 3. So you could put your fabric up the top here, and then you can just number them 1, 2 and 3, glue them down, and then you've got an idea of which is which. Otherwise you might get confused. I know I do. So that's how that looks, and then I chose these fabrics to put together, and I thought that's real navy blue. It looks black on screen, but it's actually navy blue. And I thought it'd be quite interesting to see how it would look with a spot. And of course what you can do is, again, with your colouring pencils or things like that, be easy for you to recreate this, and then you could colour in and put some shading in for flowers and things like that. So, you know, from humble beginnings, I think we've ended up with some really nice designs. Now, as I say, I am not doing instructions, so you'll get the basics when I do the actual tuition. Now this one was interesting because I was being a bit cheeky, because I brought in my half rectangle triangles, which you can see here and then at the bottom here. Okay, so don't forget this is still 32 inches square, so it's okay sort of size, but you could have 4 of those together, or you could make, this is like the center panel, you could make more of those and then just add these as borders top and bottom, or put them on the sides. So you've got the basics of what you can create, but this is slightly different because we've got the half rectangle triangles, which are my Blue Beauty templates. They're on the website. I'm not suggesting you go and buy them, but it's just an interesting design. But if you wanted to, you could just take that bit top and bottom and just recreate this sort of rectangular design. I think it looks quite nice. So with this one, we've got 2 different blocks. So let me just show you the first one. Now then, this is what I said to you about 1, 2 and 3. Okay, although this is green, I decided to go red, as you would. So let me find the block that goes with that, and then I can number it as I've got it on my desk here. So let me get it so it's the same as that, and then it helps me. So this one is 2. Okay, that's 2. That's fine. I've probably done it as I thought about it. And then this is 3. So 3, 1, 2, 3 is, these are all number 3, and these are 1. So this is 1, and I've got it in the order. So what I would do is I would either write on the little scrap, or I'd write on the paper what the colours are and tape them on, and that way you will never forget which bit goes where, because as soon as you start stitching, you can bet anything you like you'll forget which bit is what, and then you'll make mistakes. The one that has the half rectangle triangle, oh, and there's a slight amendment to this. So on the pattern, no, on the picture, on this picture that you get with the blocks underneath, I said it was the 9-inch Blue Beauty. It's not, it's the 12-inch. Okay, it's the 12-inch. I was obviously needing my cup of tea. So it's the 12-inch half rectangle triangle, or I call these my Blue Beauty, okay, if you're at all interested. But it's the 12-inch one that you need to create that block. Okay, and this block sits, let me just get this back again, this block sits up here, so you have to cut an A and you have to cut a B. If you've got the half rectangle triangles, you know exactly what I'm talking about. If you haven't got them and you haven't got a clue and you're not interested, don't worry about it. But you need an A and you need a B. They're cut differently, funnily enough, and you don't want to make that mistake, otherwise you'll waste fabric. And it's the 12-inch half rectangle triangles, and you need an A and you need a B to get this effect of the they're kind of like prairie points, aren't they? I just thought it looked quite quirky, quite sort of Native American type of thing. I quite liked it. So let's put that back. So the main thing was that you saw this, that you saw how my mind works and how easy I try to make it for myself by adding the numbers in and that correlates to the fabric. And if you are a member of mine, next week we're going to start the foundation paper piece for the apple, which is just behind me here, and you'll see very much that I put numbers on things, and so we get in some sort of rhythm with it and we don't lose our bearings. Okay, enough chat. Enough chat. What we're going to do is make up this block. So there's lots of cutting, lots of bits, and but I don't want you to be put off by that. I'm going to come out just a wee bit because I'm a little bit too near, so I do apologise for that, and I'm just going to swing you up a bit. That's a little bit better. Okay. Oh my gosh. Kath says, I love all the blocks. Thank you very much, Kath. I really appreciate that. Sue says she loves the pointy block. Me too. Mary says, such a brilliant idea. Thank you. Dawn says, I've got them all. Dawn, that is no surprise. Abigail says, buy them. You know what? When I used to work for Crafts Companion, I used to do this all the time, and I used to enjoy it very, very much. But I would never know if anybody had bought them. I never knew if anybody had made anything. I never saw the end result. All I saw was the beginning, if you like. And it was always really good. You know, we always used to sell loads, you know, they were great designs, and I really enjoyed doing the demonstrations, but I never really got to see or hear about if anybody had made them or enjoyed them or had more ideas about them. This way I can do that. I'm kind of like the middleman, aren't I, between Crafty-UK and you guys. So on my Making It Special page, which is open to everybody, it's the perfect place to post the pictures of anything that you make. Not just this, but anything, okay? I don't discriminate. So you can show whatever you like, and I'm thrilled always to see it. It's nicer if it's something Lizzy, if you know what I mean. But in this instance, because I'm promoting the Crafty-UK templates, I'm really happy to see them in the Making It Special Facebook page. So please do that. Okay, so what else have we got here? Sue says, gosh, you've worked like a trooper to produce all these patterns, Lizzy. Well, you know what? I have the most amazing piece of software. Obviously I have the ideas of what I want to do, but once I commit it to my software and I fiddle with it and manipulate it and all of that, then suddenly all these things come together, and then it's the colours and working out that sort of thing. But it's nice to keep things simple for pictures so you can see what they look like. Okay, it's lovely. Carol says fabulous. Greta says lovely. Lots of lovely compliments. Thank you very much indeed. Jeanette says love the pattern, so many ideas. You're welcome. This is just the start, guys. It's up to you to create your own beautiful creations. I can't come up with another word. Right, so let's have a look. Let's put my phone down. It's nearly out of battery anyway, so I'll put my phone down over there. I can see the comments on here. So what we're going to do is cut. And for that we need the mummy. So that's the middle-sized one, the medium-sized potato chip, which is this one here. So let me just pop that down there. And we also need the square in square, okay, which is this one here. I also need the distractions so I know what I'm doing with it. Let's just see if I can find them. Let's see, let me see. I won't be giving you out any measurements because I want you to go to the website go to contact Andy and buy them from him, basically. Right, okay, so let's get going. And I'm going to cut the size of the square that I need. The actual shape is on the templates that you get, okay? And this is the size that you want. I'm not going to give you dimensions because everything, as I said before, is on the template. You don't need to worry about that. So again, we're just going to cut these out. Okay, and let me just refer to my notes. So they're the same. Good, okie dokie. So all I need to do is get all of my pieces. Now with my pieces that I've already stitched, because I pressed them so well, they all need their seams opening up. And do you know what? Sometimes it's good to see things like this because you think, she's not perfect. No, of course I'm not perfect. And she does make me say, yes, of course I do. And I'm not afraid to show anybody how you rectify it at all. Okay, so what I need to do is to cut these down to a particular size as well. So let me get my template again. Let me just have a quick look on here. So I'm pretty sure it does tell me where I'm doing it from. Just bear with. Yep. So I'm just going to line these up. I think I can cut 4 at a time. So let's do that. And that'll be done really quick. And then I'll get John to edit the video. Oh dear. Okay, so there's 4. There's 4. You wouldn't think that I'd spent the afternoon doing this, would you? Oh, anyway, let's not talk about it. I don't do negative. So let's pop that on there. Just make sure I've got the right place again. Yeah, do it that way. Do it that way. Do it the right way, Lizzie. Okay, and we're just going to trim those off as well. Okay, that's great. I'm pretty sure we're okay now, guys. So it's exactly what we just did. So I'm going to whiz that up like nobody's business. Right, so once again, I need to follow my design, okay, because like again, I would never get complacent about anything, even though maybe I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I've got to finish for you now. We've got enough time to do this, guys, but I still need to make sure I follow my design. So I've got all my pieces here, so let's get all these ready. So I need my green piece first, and I'm going to do the light yellow. So I'll do the light yellow first. Don't worry about threads, we can sort that out another day. So all we're just going to do is stitch our pieces on, and we're going to do the opposite. So there's our yellow, opposite to that is our bright yellow, so let's get that one, and let's get that on there like that.
Sorry, I omitted one.
That's Alexa. Don't, Alexa, stop. Okay, there's the second one. Then we need the brown over on the left there, so we'll put that on. Right sides facing, obviously, and we're still doing exactly the same again. We're following the raw edges. We're pushing that back. Again, ideally you're going to iron, so rinse and repeat. And even though this is a smaller size, the 4-inch, you could easily make up a beautiful, beautiful design in no time at all using this set of templates. So don't think, oh, it's small, it's going to take ages. Look how quickly I'm doing it, and you'll be just as quick. Okay, so there's our first one done. Amazing, looks like we've done it before. So then let's take the next one. I'm going to get my green. Let's start with the darker yellow this time. Let's put it on our square and stitch. We're going to do the opposite, which is the brown. We're doing everything slightly different, but we're going to end up with the same design, the same square, with the fabrics in the same order. But you're always going opposite. So we're doing top and bottom, if you like, side to side. And then we're going to put the bright yellow here. So that goes there. Again, just push those seams out, give them a little dry iron, and we'll just pop this one on. Okay, so keep an eye on your design, make sure you're following it correctly. And this is why I put my fabrics on the patterns, or any pattern actually, so I know in what order they go in. And that way I won't make a mistake. Okay, so there now is our lovely square. So with any luck and the wind in the right direction, I will be cutting. So let's have a quick look. Love it. So I'm just going to give it a quick iron again. So let's pick up the iron. It's still on. That's good. So you can see how quickly you can do these little blocks, and just imagine how fantastic it would be with the big one, the 8-inch. That would look amazing. And then what we're going to do is add our potato chips to this, and this is the original potato chip I'm using in the next section. So now we get our big square, and that little square now sits in the centre of that. So if I was to line that up, can you see how that looks? We just bring that in. So there's a square in the centre of this. This has all been mathematically done by Andy, and that goes onto your green. So you can understand my puzzlement why that didn't before. So then all we're going to do, don't forget it's got non-slip, so it doesn't move. You're going to cut a very accurate square. Okay, so there's the first bit. Let's get those out of the way. So immediately you've got something quite different. Let's do the same again. So once again, that centre square goes in here. Where is it? There. And you're just lining up that square with the edge of your green. I know it's difficult to see. Let me see. This orange might help you. So if I put it down, if I bring it up, you can see we've got a centre square there. And that centre square goes over the centre of your square and square. Okay. So just hold it. You don't need to really grip tight because you've got the non-slips. And go all the way around. There we go. So you end up again with a fantastic square in square design. Okay, yes Sally, it is clever. Very clever. Okay, so now we've got our two patches. So if I turn it so it's the same as the quilts, if you like. If I put it, let's put it here, you can still see it here. So what we want to do is get this orangey colour to the outside, so that's that one, and the orange colour to the outside, which is like that. And then we want our other pieces. So these are the mummy chips, if you like. So we want one there. No, we don't. We want one there. We want one there, one there, and one there. And this is the original size chip, so don't forget that. If you've got that, all you'll need to get is the square in square. So we're going to stitch these two together and these two together, and then we're just going to join the whole block. So let's go on the side camera again. Okay, let's bring in the beast. So just right sides together, and we're going to stitch our two mummy chips together. Okay, we're going to iron that in a second. Finger press it for the moment. Again, right sides together. Let's have a look, see if there's any comments. Sally says, yes, that's so clever. Yeah, I've seen that comment. Cindy says, wow, loving this. Thank you, Cindy. It's very generous of you. Mary says she's so looking forward to getting hers. Excuse me. Okay, and don't forget, these go slightly different. So when we look at the design here, let's do it that way. You've got those two that go vertical, and these two go horizontal. So we need to make sure that when we stitch these together, the bottom two are horizontal. So we'll pop those two together. And when you're stitching blocks together that have points, you're stitching on the point side if you can, because then you can navigate across that point. So make sure your ends are together. Make sure the middle is as best as you can get it. And then when you get to the point here, you're just going on the right hand side of the point. So you're going over the point, but it's more to the right hand side. So if I show that to you, you can see what that looks like. I'll see what that looks like inside. Let's do it the right way around. It's not too bad, is it? Not too bad. So then the second one, that doesn't have any points to line up except that's that center point of the square. and we're going to go just on the right hand side. I mean, it's a hair's breadth away from the point. So if I do that again, make sure your ends are meeting because all the blocks are the same size, and then you're just going on the right hand side of the point, just a hair's breadth. We're not going a lot. Let me just get rid of my rubbish and then you can see what that looks like. Yeah, and then when we open it up, let's get it right around. Look, you got the perfect point. So it really matters. So now what we're going to do is we're just going to put those two blocks together, nest the seams, but what you want to do is get the first two pieces to line up beautifully, get them under the needle, start off and then bring your end together here, make sure that meets, and then you can worry about what goes on in the middle. And you can nest the seams, as I said. If you've got, for instance, we're going over a square in square here, so you might want to stitch from the other side. There's nothing wrong with starting at the middle and going out and then doing the same on this side, so you can see both points. Okay, so let's just line these up. Not sure that is brilliantly lined up, but we'll do our best. And make sure that's lined up. Just going just to the right of the point. Whoops. And then we've got our piece. And I'm going to make sure I get this sitting right. So there we are. That's what it looks like finished. Looks okay, doesn't it? Point's not too bad. After all that kerfuffle, we're okay. So Sally says, is the piece of tape on your machine to give you an accurate side seam, as that's where I go wrong? Yes, never rely on any foot, never rely on anything that's on your machine. Always go from the point of the needle out. So wherever that needle goes into the hole of your machine, and I've talked about this quite a bit, measure, oh yes, I do have a proper ruler handy. Measure, put the needle against the edge of your ruler. Okay, so your needle is touching the corner of my template here, and I'm lining up the 1/4 inch line with my tape. I never rely on the machine, I never rely on a foot, and I certainly don't rely on the needle, because my needle on this machine sits very much over to the left hand side of the hole, and if I used the measurements on my machine, I would be way out, even though it's a beautiful machine. And it makes a huge difference. So you measure from the needle as it goes into the hole down to over across a 1/4 inch, and then that's where you place your tape. So let's give this a quick iron. And what you can do here is, because you kind of got like a double seam here, you want to make sure that, well, those are going to go out. That's nice and easy, look. So make sure those go out. So, because all that fabric here and here. With this one, you've got the choice of opening up the seam. So you can have only the layers of fabric going over itself, and then you've got one layer of fabric on the other side of the seam. You know what I'm talking about here. Or you can push one out and live with the consequences of pushing that one in, because it does make a difference. It's quite bulky, and it only is hard to stitch is when you're quilting and maybe you're stitching over all that bulk. So be careful you don't stretch it. And then what you want to do, not very good there, but anyway, then what you want to do is just to make sure that you trim that. If you don't have an 8.5 inch block here, trim it down to 8 1/4 or an 8. I wouldn't worry too much about the fact that it might be a little bit off, depends on your seam allowances. And as Sally says, you know, these things can go quite awry sometimes. So there's our 2 blocks done. So we're already well on the way to creating our first design. So the first block goes like this, and the second block goes like that. That's how it goes. And when you look at the design, that's what it looks like. So that's the first one we did, that's the second one we did. If you print one or two of these out, you can actually put a cross through this so you know where you're at, rather than keep looking at the design and thinking, well, I have no idea where I am. But once you've done one row, you'll find the next row is dead easy. Maybe you could look for, I don't know, a certain thing with this block. Maybe it's these that are going to stand out to you. You know, there's going to be some parts of the blocks when you put them together that will stand out. Okay, so that is that. I apologise for my rookie error. We can all make mistakes, can't we? And I don't mind about things like that. It just shows you how you're going to use the template properly. So what we have here is the square in square, the 8" and the 4", and the 8" is really quite big. And then we have the chip family. And don't forget what I said right at the beginning, if you've already got the mummy one, which we've just used, you can buy the other two for £12 and they will come in the box so you can store them all together. And that's all available for you via the email address that's been posted several times, I think, now in the post. Thank you to all my admin that have helped me along the way with all of this, putting the links in. I really appreciate it. Thank you all for staying and enjoying the demonstration. And I hope you have a lovely rest of your evening. I can't wait to perhaps make one of these quilts up, actually. That would be nice. Thank you so much again. I will see all my members on my members page, not here, on my members page on Thursday. That's tomorrow. I've got something good lined up for you. For anybody new, I will go through what it's like to be a member and where to go to look for staff and all that sort of thing. And then on Sunday I'll be live in my platinum group showing everybody the last of the temperature hexagons, which is I'm looking forward to that, because then we can finish off that project. And I've got a new challenge for my platinum members, which I'll talk about on Sunday now. Anyway, thank you. Have a lovely rest of your evening, and I'll speak to you all